It made me cry over fucking wood. Like, how do you do that?
You're tuned into Bite Sides to Nerdy with Amanda Teo. This is the podcast where we aim to serve you just a taste of the fandoms and franchises our guests are just simply obsessed with. Whether you're here to gush over your faves or simply looking for something new, we're just so excited to have you. So sit back, relax, and let's get nerdy.
Grab your crew and set sail for an adventure of a lifetime. Whether you're searching for treasure or created it with the bonds you share, there's no better example than this episode's topic.
Hello, my name's Elias, and we are gonna talk about One Piece. The story of One Piece was created by a guy, I usually refer to him as Oda, and he started this series after a few attempts to pitch for a manga and then gave him the opportunity. And originally, One Piece was only supposed to go on for, I believe, 10 months. And he took that deal and stretched it out to what it is today. And because it was so popular when it came out, they just said, you know what, you do you. They kept letting him produce it. Since 1999, so 25 years, about to be 26.
This very beloved Japanese series spans over 1,128 chapters of manga, 1,122 episodes of anime, 5 OVAs, 14 TV specials, 15 movies, 56 games, 11 of which are mobile games, a trading card game, live performances, themed cafes, merchandise stores, and most recently, a Netflix live-action adaptation. It isn't shocking that Eiichiro Oda is one of the big three, a title given to the three mangaka with the most popular series during the 2000s to 2010s. But if for some reason you have never had a chance to get into the story of One Piece,
Kind of a tough question, because I can't just put One Piece into one sentence, but if I had to, like, gun to my head, that it's a story about slowly getting a crew that becomes family and facing adversity against an overwhelming government. There are a lot of times where they have to fight other pirates, yes, but the main issue and the main developments that happen away from the crew involves the government, and there's a lot of things that happen to the crew or impacts the crew due to the government. It's gonna be crazy to say, but about like 500 episodes in, give or take, it became a story where it's a group of people looking for the One Piece with their own ambitions, while post-timeskip is just the reaction to said feelings. The moments that it does have reflects something from earlier.
you're probably thinking, how did Elias exactly get into the series himself?
I saw 800 episodes. What? And I thought that was too daunting. And my brother was like, bro, just give it a chance. Watch until Arlong Park, which is 20 episodes in. And if you do not get attached to this show, drop it. Because the rest of pre-timeskip is, while they're all different situations, they're all different ideas, are all similar or have the same kind of theming as Arlong Park. I said, okay. So in sophomore year of high school, I sat down and I was just like, I'm really tired, but I want to give this a try because of a lot of clips and a lot of things about the casting that I really liked. And so I sat down and I watched 10 episodes before knocking out. And I told myself, I gotta keep watching. From there, I just fell in love with the series. There's a lot of ups and there's a good amount of downs, don't get me wrong. But the overall experience I've had with One Piece, I will not trade it for anything else.
Not every series is perfect. Even One Piece has seen some rough seas themselves.
There's two. One of them I fundamentally agree with. It's a culture thing, which to a lot of people is very disgusting, but it's an anime thing where some of the teenage characters, like someone who's 16, 17, are drawn like adults. And it happens somewhat often depending on which shows you're watching. It depends on like what genre. It's because it's a culture thing. In Japan, like 16 and 17 is like considered an adult, which no. Other than that, there was a controversy with the live action because One Piece has been turned into a lot of medias, but they made a live action with a bunch of different people and they revamped a lot of the story took out a good amount of the nuance from it, which for first timers who want to get into One Piece, who don't really know the general idea and they just want to have like a little bit of it, the live action is perfect because it's 8 hours long for a good movie level quality, and the general gist of the story is there, but a lot of scenes that hit home to me and made a lot of the characters feel like a character were taken out. And another thing too is that the narrative of the live action kind of made Luffy feel like the chosen one as opposed to being just another pirate who's just succeeding. Because that's the thing that I like about One Piece a lot, is that the main crew, even though when they're in like life-altering peril and you think, oh, they might die, blah, 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 which some characters do die, it's always in the back of their head like, oh, they're the main cast, they can't. But the narrative really just shows them as just another crew on the sea looking for the One Piece. Yeah, they're special in themselves, but when you meet other crews like Shanks's crew, when you see Whitebeard's crew, like all the big pirates, you realize that like, oh, you're just another pirate in the same game. In a lot of points, we change perspectives from the crew for like a good amount of episodes and see what's happening on with the world. Like, we're not always on the main Straw Hats.
With a series so huge, doesn't it get tiring at one point?
That was a question I like thought to myself at some point. It was mainly during like the like downer arcs where it's kind of just like this arc's kind of bad. I'm mainly talking about Skypiea and Fishman Island. Like those two arcs are objectively like the worst arcs in One Piece. But Skypiea at least foreshadowed some things for like later. When you see it for the first time, you're like, oh, this is building up for something, and then you see it 600 episodes later, and you're like, oh, that's from the arc. But the reason why I stayed with the series for so long, and the reason why I love it so much, is because no other series made me genuinely love the characters. There's only one Straw Hat where I don't like love, and that's fucking Sanji, because he's a womanizer. I still like him to a certain extent, but everyone has their own story, has their own nuance I can go on and on about that really make the world just feel alive. And there's a lot of world building that happens in One Piece to where it's not just things that are mentioned, it's a lot of things that are shown and a lot of things that have effects, and to where it feels like I'm watching a video game. The big thing about video games and the way that they can do their storytelling is they make you as the player feel it through gameplay. With One Piece as a media, it's something that you're watching, but it really hits you with a lot of emotion that I only have ever experienced in video game form. There's no other way I can say that I just love this series, because I just do. There's no series that made me cry multiple times. No series that like made me like actually chuckle and laugh as much as One Piece did. There's no series that made me genuinely care for someone's safety. There's no one who's like made me mourn like One Piece has. That's what I think is so special about One Piece, is that it makes you feel a lot of things. I cried over a damn boat in this show. That's hard. It made me cry over fucking wood. Like, how do you do that?
You've heard enough. You're ready to jump in. But before you do, Elias provides his insights on where you can start.
If you're really trying the series, this is how I would go. If you're okay with reading manga, read it. Because the anime has a big pacing issue, which if you know Toei Animation, that's just how they are. The pacing issue might be getting fixed. We are getting a One Piece anime remake, which I don't know when it's coming out, but they're saying that they can squeeze all of One Piece up to the current day in 200 episodes. I don't believe that. I'm gonna have to watch it to see how the pacing goes, because at most, I think they can squeeze all of One Piece in like 400. I don't know about 200. There's so much content, there's a lot of like things, if you don't want to cut out anything, I don't know. Currently, they're remaking Fishman Island, which originally was 60 episodes, into 20, and that's been going really good. So if you don't mind pacing issues, like I didn't when I was watching, I was more involved with the characters, I was looking more at the positives of the show, then watching it is fine. And as far as I would give you, read or watch until Arlong Park and finish it, like finish Nami's arc. And if you're unsure if you should keep going or not, go until Alabasta, which sure is longer, because I think like after that it's like another 40 episodes, give or take, but finish Alabasta. If you're like still really unsure about where it's going, at that point forward, it's only gonna expand upon what it's already done. So that'll just be up to you at that point. But if you don't like it after Arlong Park, drop it. If you love it after Arlong Park, keep watching. I would recommend the live action more so if you either like the castings or if you like the world of One Piece already. A lot of the stuff happens that isn't really mentioned or explored upon that you would understand if you watched the show or read the manga. So like if you know the story at least like a little bit up until after Arlong Park, then you can watch the live action. If you just like, oh, I want to know why this is happening or blah blah blah, then sure.
And if you want to continue the discussion with Elias.
Alright, so if you want to correct me live, I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday on Twitch at Eligooy, so Eligooy. Again, is Eligooy.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Bite Sized and Nerdy with Amanda Teo. Did you enjoy your happy helping of fun facts? Or do our guests have info that they need to retract? Make sure to let us know down in the comments. In the meantime, thanks for dropping by, and we can't wait to see you next time.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you didn't know, Bite Sized and Nerdy is one of our pilot podcast series in a documentary style focused on interviewing fans and their obsessions. If you're interested in hearing more, be sure to like and subscribe to see all of our future projects. In the meantime, we will be uploading a new podcast every Friday at 12 p.m. PDT. So until then, bye-bye!